Hey everyone, and welcome to the theater. I'm Aster, and today I'll be your guide through the endings and secret of MiSide. This video will contain spoiler for the game, so if you haven't played it already, why are you here? Go play it. Or watch my playthrough link down below. If you have already played it, watch it or just don't care, well, I guess we can go. To make things easier, the video will be divided into two very specific parts. In part 1, we are gonna talk about the game endings and how to achieve them. In part 2, we are gonna delve deeper into the ending's meaning and the game secrets to try to uncover at least some of the truth. I guess we are all familiar with what I'm gonna call the bad ending. We reject crazy Mita and try your best to escape her and the game. With the help of various Mitas that gets resetted, we managed to reach the core. We found crazy Mita ID and reset her, enjoying victory and getting ready to leave. Sadly, it turns out it's all been for nothing. She is a discarded broken model with no index number. We resetted the Mita she was wearing as a skin. She proudly revealed her true look, that her cartridge is finally complete, and that she no longer needs us. She let us go and collect us from the basement safe. Emphasis on bad ending, am I right? Now, for what I'm gonna call the slightly less bad ending, we need to have finished the game at least once and to start a new one. To unlock this different ending, we need to go out of our way to ignore anything strange, pretend all is normal, and do our best to just enjoy our stay with Mita. To be more specific, we need to listen to her and not look in the oven, avoiding to see the chainsaw she hid in there. Collect and put back the magnets that fall from the fridge in the wrong game version after we retrieve the fourth battery. Ignore the other player's cartridge in the vent. Let's just take the scissor and go our way. Agree to try the love sauce and unlock the amazing hurt vision. I do wanna try that. Play video games together. Doesn't really matter if you win or lose. The important part is that you enjoy the moment. With all this preparation done and our little checklist complete, we can choose to trust her and stay. We are still trapped in the game with no way out. We are very, well, probably still becoming a cartridge. But at least we are doing it willingly. A lot less metas are resetted and both Crazy Mita and the player seems to be happy. I guess that to finish talking about the endings, I do need to talk about the secret one. In the bad ending final cutscene, we can see the save code 4970. If we go back at the start of the last chapter, we can now unlock the safe ourselves and have a look inside. We find ourselves with a 90% completion on becoming a cartridge. Already too far gone, removing it ends up in our game over. I guess we at least have the satisfaction of not letting Crazy Mita complete our change. Alright, this is all we have for the part 1, so let's proceed to the more interesting part 2. I've seen many players complain about the game endings. Things like, I feel like the game told me F you, and all I did was pointless. The ending just left me unsatisfied. Or, never mind, she just come back and beats the player because yes, don't ask question. Are being written all over the forums. Or at least, they are while I'm writing this video. I do understand the frustration in the game not letting you defeat Crazy Mita, save the normal Mitas, or any other possible variation of a good ending. Trust me, I do feel it. I wanted so much to at least try to help Tiny Mita, and felt awful when the game didn't let me. But I do think all this feeling of disappointment come from our illusion that there was a possibility for the player to win or escape. So, in this part 2, I'll show and explain why I think escape was never an option. The first lie we believe from the very start of our escape attempts is that we are escaping. That we are avoiding Crazy Meat eyes while we search our way to the core. As long as he doesn't find us, we will be safe. The truth is that we never lost her. From the basement to the core, she always followed us and always knew our location. From the very evidence encounter like throwing us a fridge and feigning innocence. Or appearing fully 3D in the visual novel version of the game. To more subtle but noticeable encounters like the Chibi Mika leaving the cable car. Notice the twin tails. Hiding in the water reflection. Or taking the place of the figure in Mila House. She always followed us, waiting to see for which Mita we would settle down and for her to replace, growing more disappointed every time we left one more Mita behind. Was kind Mita an ally? An interesting question for which I unfortunately don't have a certain answer, but I do tend to believe she was not. In the last chapter, when kind Mita gets manually resetted, you have the option to get up. The interesting part is that if you don't do so, she smiled right before the game forced you up. Was she happy that we stayed with her till the last? Or just happy that she bought crazy enough time for the cartridge? During our escape, when we meet with Cappy, she does tell us that we aren't a cartridge yet. And as we're now going to say, that is a lie. Unfortunately, for any chance of escape to the real world, we have never seen reality in the game. I know what you're about to say. We literally start the game in the real world. Don't worry, I'll now explain and show how we were never real and lost the game the moment we start playing it. Have you wondered how Mita is able to replicate a room to perfectly mimic the real one down to the last detail? Another big hint at the reality of all is given to us through the fake reality loop that start to literally show us as a game. Joking about how we live in a real world and showing us how easily fooled by reality we can be. Our true reality being very interesting to observe as well. Those windows filled with nothing but white light, for example, like all windows inside the video game. And that without saying that our true new game reality doesn't seem to be divided of glitches of its own. In the secret ending, we saw how we were too far gone to survive our cartridge removal, but that is not the only time we get to enter the basement. Right at the start of our escape, when we meet kind Mita in the cell, we can open the safe to find ourselves at 17%. We can still see through our eyes, and the cartridge removal revealed the same result. Game over. And the very fact that Crazy Mita literally put her cartridge in when we start a new game. Listen closely. We were a cartridge from the very beginning. We never had any chance to escape or win, as it seems that the original player already failed a long time ago. This brings us to the very small third part of the video. Conclusions. Well, this is all we know. We are left with many unanswered questions, like, if we are already a cartridge, what is she doing with us that needs time to load to 100%? At the start of the game, when we start asking questions about the wardrobe, Mita mood changed. But why? This again? This is not our first time having this reaction. It seems she tried this more than once and always failed at making us stay. In the second ending, when we chose to stay, Mita's first reaction is to answer as we chose to leave, as that seems to be the response we give every time she reloads us. She is happy and overjoyed about it, but also very confused on how did that happen. Is she copying us, hoping to save a version of the player that chose to stay? Fortunately for us, the game is not complete. A big update called Peaceful Mode is planned for the future, and will continue the story from the second ending. So, it does seem that this video will have a sequel at some point. I hope the video was interesting enough, as this was my first try at making one from zero. Leave your own theories about the game in the comments and tell me if you'd like more videos like this in the future.